The Royals take 3 of 4 from the Texas Rangers, finish off an 8-2 homestand big series with the Detroit Tigers coming up this weekend. The Royals are hot. They're playing good ball. And they're going to stay in this wild card race. We'll talk about it all right now live on One Royal Way. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review on all platforms. Hit those notification bells so you know when these episodes go live. Nate Thomas hopping in the chat. As always, we're back. The Royals are back. They're playing good ball right now. They actually have the best record in the American League since the beginning of July. So they're playing really good ball right now, and they're putting themselves in the wild card position as always. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our partners in Possible here at Kansas City Sports Network and on this show. And we also want to give a shout out to Kansas. If you have a baseball or softball player in the area that needs a place to train, it's one of the best places in the area. Go check it out. Big shout out to them as well for their support of this show previously, but we still have a good relationship with them. 2 games, both kind of weird, both interesting, a lot to take away from both. Mainly the game last night, which is, ironically enough, the game that the Royals lost in this series. But you still take 3 or 4. As we talked about before this series started, at a minimum, you needed a split. They guaranteed that for themselves, on Tuesday by winning the first 2. And they secure the series win today, Thursday afternoon, before they head to Detroit. Supermo's in the chat. Jordan Foote, former host here in the chat. Nate Thomas as always. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate the support here. Jordan was in attendance last night. Now I don't know if he can go back to another game because they lost the game that he was at. We'll go ahead and talk about that game right now. It obviously a little bit of an inauspicious start with Wyatt Langford taking Noah Cameron deep, their first batter of the game, first inning. They didn't get Wyatt Langford out. He was 2 for 2 with 3 walks. But in the bottom half, Vinnie Pasquantino hits a 3-run homer. It goes single, 3-run homer off of Bauschle, who was kind of the spot starter because Jacob deGrom didn't pitch. And they had his number. They made him throw like 38 pitches in that first inning. They weren't able to cash in anymore after, but felt like they were positioning themselves for a big offensive day. And that really didn't come to pass. There was nothing after that. They had their chances, certainly. They had multiple chances with runners in scoring position. A lot of chances they had a chance with the bases loaded later on in the game, and it just nothing came of it. It was a poor offensive game. They finished 1 for 6 runners in scoring position. They leave 9 on, in a game that was tied in the 8th inning, in the 9th inning. So it ends up being a really brutal spot for this team in a game where they have been better offensively as of late. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's a big reason why they've been able to go from a few games under and, wondering if they're even going to have a chance at the playoffs to, hey, it's a real possibility they're going to be able to run down a wild card spot. And that offense is a big reason why. And they just didn't have their best stuff last night. Jacob Latz came in and gave 3 innings, 3 and a third, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit. Their bullpen didn't allow anything. And Sean Armstrong, I mean, he pulled a Houdini act to get out of, I think it was the 7th inning, might have been. Yeah, it was the 7th inning. Bobby comes up and singles. Vinny singles. It's 3-3. At that point, it's 3-3. You got 2 on, 1 out. Mike Hell strikes out. Salvi walks, and then Nick Lofton comes up. And this is, and Mike Hell's strikeout was kind of weird. Like, he fought off a bunch of pitches. The dude threw like a weird backup slider up and in, like kind of funky. Like, okay, you just whatever. The guy had no idea what he was doing. Like, pitching around Salvi, had no idea where the strike zone was. Little column A, column B. And the guy couldn't find the zone, with anything. He was spraying the ball glove side with, and I don't know if he was even going to be near the zone. And Nick Lofton just kind of half-heartedly swings at a pitch 1-0 after the guy walks Salvi on 4 pitches and you're out of the inning. And that felt like the best opportunity that this team was going to have. Credit to Sam Long, at least in the 8th inning. He gets into a little bit of danger, but he ends up getting the pick off. You get to the 9th, And or you get to the bottom of the 8th and 3 strike out the side, inning over. Okay, well, what do they do in the 9th? And this is where people wanted to lose their minds. Bullpen was shot to begin with. Ursig only went a third, but his command wasn't very good. The fact that he got out of there, just giving up the 1 run, which was inherited from Daniel Lynch. He had a walk in there. So it wasn't his best night, but they used him early when the outs were the most important. That's when they like to deploy him. You'd already used Clark. You'd already used Lynch. Schreiber had saved the game the night before, and he had pitched the previous day, I believe, as well. Zerpa had thrown 2 innings the day before. Estevez, I think, had thrown 3 of the previous 4 games. It was just odd. It was just one of those where you run out of arms at a certain point, and you need guys to cover extra, different levels of innings and innings they normally wouldn't throw. So Sam Long goes out there for a 2nd inning. Now, some of it was the bottom of the order coming up, 8-9-1. So safer spot relative to, other situations. And it's like, okay, I may not like it. And that's okay. I think as fans, and people that cover the game, we look at moves and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. But if it works, it's like, okay, I may not have done it, but there's a reason why they get paid money to do it. And I sit on the couch, or I just sit here with a microphone and I don't make these decisions. And it looked like it was going to be good, right? Like they were going to find a way out of it. He gets 2 ground outs, and then he walks Wyatt Langford, kind of pitches around him a little bit. And Langford's a very good hitter, and he's got a really good eye for the zone. It's like, okay, 2-out walk. I don't love it, but you get the lefty-lefty with Seager, and he gets Seager to ground out. And my first thought was, oh, man, they got out of the inning. All right, hey, go walk it off. And right as I'm having that thought, Vinnie botches it. And Vinnie's a very good fielder. And I think he made the right decision to attack that short hop right by the lip of the grass. And I know that people say it wasn't fundamental. That's how big leaguers attack ground balls. It's not the stationary setup thing that you see little leaguers do. It's different. And to attack the ball the way he did and go to kind of scoop that short hop is how it's taught. And to do it right by the lip of the grass was a smarter play, because that thing hits the lip of the grass, it picks up top spin with a funky hop, and then you're taking it on the long hop where you don't know where it's going to go. You just got to finish the play. And he didn't finish the play, and it ultimately was costly. Marcus Semien gets a swinging bunt, next batter, and then Kyle Higashioka, doubles down the line, and there's your ball game. Could they have probably gotten? It was a splitter up. It was a terrible pitch, that long throw. So there's a whole bunch of different avenues that people wanted to complain here. One, blaming Sam Long. I'm sorry if you're blaming Sam Long. I don't value your opinion. I don't. I think it is a fool's errand to blame him when he was in that situation, and he should have been out of that inning, right? We're not having this conversation, and Vinnie just makes the play. So it's obviously easy with the benefit of hindsight to go, they should have taken him out. Well, he was going to get out of the inning with no problem. Blaming McIntyre for leaving long in too long. Well, it's a weird way to phrase it. They had Estevez warming, but if you use him then and the game goes to extras, then you burn him for today. You likely burn him for Friday. And the only other guy in your bullpen is Bailey Falter. And do we really trust him either? So you just kind of go and you dance with the girl you brought, and that's Sam Long in this situation. And it didn't work out, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it, because they should have been out of the inning, and he shouldn't be getting blamed for this. It's frustrating. It's one of those things where it's sort of, and this is something that I've kind of come to the opinion of when it comes to the way people talk about losses on social media when it comes to the Royals. It's like a Chiefsification of baseball fandom. And by that, I mean, the Chiefs have so much success for the last 7-8 years, right? And they don't lose a lot of games. And in football, it's different. You play once a week, you play 17 times in 18 weeks, and every game matters. There's a level of importance to every game. You drop a game to an awful divisional team, or how do they lose that game? It impacts seeding. It impacts divisional race, like going back to a whole bunch of different things just off of one game, right? Out of 17. And what happens on social afterwards? You go to lowest common denominator. We're going to go and blame coaches. We're going to blame the 2 players that had bad games. And we're going to look for all of that, right? In baseball, you play 162 times. Like, it is so vastly different. And there's so much that goes into the game. Like, there's like a level of nuance that you don't often find in a lot of sports, in my opinion. And it feels like people just want to act like every loss is the end of the world. It's the end of the season. This guy needs to be fired. This guy sucks. The manager's terrible, yada, yada. And I'm like, guys, like, there's so much more that went into that than just like the fact that I saw people legitimately blaming Macatro and Sam Long for this one. I think it's a fool's errand. I don't understand it. This team goes 1 for 9 with runners, or 1 for 6. You leave 9 on. You don't do a damn thing on offense after the first inning. Noah Cameron, even though he's been great this year, he can't get through 5, right? Like, he didn't pitch well. He did not have his command. There was so much more to this than just trying to go to the lowest common denominator. And I'm not saying don't be frustrated. Like, I was frustrated. I'm like, man, like, that's a game you got to go win. You should win, right? You should have a chance. You should have a chance for a sweep tomorrow. Instead, you got to go and salvage and try and avoid a split. But going to that is it's a fool's errand to try and blame Sam Long in that situation when he should have been out of the inning. And it is what it is. And now this is where you have to turn the page, move on, and you can't let tomorrow beat you twice. The previous game beat you twice. And they took accountability in the locker room afterwards. And I know that this team's going to be on to tomorrow, and we'll see where it goes. I didn't really have much else on this game. It's frustrating you lose 6-3. But they had a chance to win the series, and they ended up doing that. So we'll go and talk about that game right after the break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, nothing beats hanging out with the boys on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And the simplest way that you all can get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It is crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part is, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and then use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Sure to hit that like and subscribe button, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out. We're a little earlier than normal, but we are live on YouTube, and we appreciate all the support that you guys give, hopping in the chat, being a part of the conversation. On the audio side, we appreciate you over there. If you have not come over to a live show, you should. We'll be doing that on Sunday. Thank goodness they didn't have a devastating error that cost them for a second straight game. They almost did. I'll get to that here in a minute. Ended up winning the game today. Ended up winning 6-4. And it was a little bit of a back and forth game. Like, I mean, the Rangers they're not a slouch. Like, they're kind of in the same position. They're in a similar position in the wild card as the Royals, where, all right, let's see what they're made of. Let's see what they got. And this game started off. Patrick Corbin's on the mound. He's just still kind of hanging around. Scoring starts. Nick Lofton, he kind of made up for his poor at bat that he had on Wednesday night. With a home run to get the scoring going a little bit. That was good to see. In the third, Jock Peterson comes up, ties it back at 1. Salvi gets in. I mean, this team really battled in a lot of ways to get this thing going and to be in a good spot. Tyler Tolbert had a sac fly, and Michael comes up and singles. So it's 4-1 in the fourth with Lorenzen working, and you're like, okay. Maybe he's settling in a little bit. I thought he looked a lot better today than he did in the start against the White Sox on Saturday, which was his first off the injured list. So, a little bit of context there. Thought he had a much better feel for spin. And that's kind of a low bar because he almost had no feel for it in the last game. And it was better today, but still not quite where he needs to be. And then in that fifth inning, I mean, it could have been just devastating, right? Corey Seager comes up and hits like a little jam shot into left. I don't even think it cracks 60 miles an hour exit velocity. And Ezekiel Duran singles. He strikes out Jock, which was huge, there in that inning. Evan Carter hits like a little sawed-off single again to left, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. And I'm thinking, okay, Teleza, with Rowdy Teleza, get him to sinker down, change up away, get him to roll over, get out of the inning. And they get that. India makes the throw and it wasn't even like it was rushed. Like it was just there. Throws right on Bobby's glove. And Bobby's one of the best defenders in the sport. And he just missed the ball. It was like his brain was a click ahead and he started looking to first. Which I don't know why, with Rowdy Telez running, not like you have to really speed your rhythm up. And I was like, oh no. It was just a devastating sequence. And then the very next batter, and like a run scored. So at that point, it's 4-2. And then Josh Smith gets up and hits a single, and it's 4-4, just that fast. And the game turned from where it could have been 4-1 in the fifth. You shut them down, and that's where the game ends. And instead, you have a brand new ball game there halfway through in the top of the fifth. Luckily for the Royals, Vinnie Pasquantino was awesome. Hit a home run in his fourth straight game, just jumping on this pitch. And that is a great point, Jordan. We're seeing more of the resilience we saw last season. That team, and I think that was what was missing a lot from this team last year. And I don't know when it kind of flipped for them, but there was a lot of, they would get down or they would make a mistake and the game would just kind of be done wherever it was. Like at whatever point in the game it was, offensively, defensively, it didn't matter. This is much more of that 2024 team was like, all right, hey, new game, let's go. And Curtis, to your point, Bobby said a few head scratchers. Yeah, I mean, every defender does. I think it's one of those we have trained ourselves to believe he's going to make the play 100% of the time. And even the best pros don't do that. But Bobby's still one of the best defenders in the sport at any position. So it's all relative. It obviously was a terrible mistake and you don't want to see it happen with any sort of regularity, but it happens. And then now it's a matter of what's the response. And the response was Vinny went, okay, I got you, and gives them the lead right back with a home run. 4 straight home run with the game. He's got 26 on the year. I said on the last episode he might get to 30. He's going to get to 30. He's going to get to 30 with 100 RBIs. And when you consider how bad he was the first month of this season, that's an unbelievable turnaround. He has been awesome since basically the calendar turned to May, and he's really, really got going in June. The batting average has not quite been there in the second half, but obviously that's not the first stat I'm looking at when it comes to a hitter. But he's finding ways to do more damage and taking shots and driving the ball and trying to drive runners in that way. And it's obviously it's a little bit of an exchange of approach and profile, but it's made a massive difference. During the game, after he hit that homer, I went and looked at something, and I thought it was interesting. So I'm going to do a little quick slash line blind stat reveal. Okay? So player A, we'll call him, played the first part of his career in Kansas City. And during that time, he slashed 284, 342, 439, 781 OPS. I'm using Baseball Reference OPS plus, same kind of concept to weighted runs created plus. And he had a 111 OPS plus during his time in Kansas City. And we looked at him as a solid player, right? Player B, in his time with the Royals, slash 265 coming into, or I guess that kind of gives away a little bit. 265, 332, 452, 783 OPS, and a 118 OPS plus. So slightly better, slightly worse in a couple different places. But I kind of gave it away. Player B is Vinnie Pasquantino. That's his career slash line in Kansas City. Player A, I'll give the chat a second if they have any guess as to who player A might be. And again, I'll read it back. It was the slash was 284, 342, 439 with a 111 OPS plus. If anyone has a guess, throw it in the chat. And I'll give you a couple of seconds. If not, then I'll just go ahead and say it. No, I said sorry, Curtis, for context, it was a former player. Beltran's a good guess, Supermo. But no, it's not him. It's Eric Hosmer. So this is not me trying to plant a flag of Vinny is better than Eric Hosmer. It's not that. It's only 7%. I get 7% over his career from a plus stat perspective. What I mean is think about the way that we kind of view Eric Hosmer as a fan base. Obviously, you win a World Series, it elevates your stature with the organization. But I think it's fair to be like, Eric Hosmer in Kansas City was a pretty good player, right? Like, I don't think he was. He may have been like the leader. He was not the best player on that World Series team. That was Lorenzo Cain, 100%. But he was good for that 2015 team. Where I go with this is Vinny is better than we realize, I think, is kind of my takeaway. That people look at, I've seen some of the commentary around it being, Vinny's good, he's fine, I don't know, like, he's probably going to be, he's a decent player. I think Vinny is way better than we realize. And when you look at a franchise legend, right, in some capacity, and then you put Vinny up next to it and you go, oh, man, Vinny's pretty damn good. I think it makes for a very interesting conversation. And actually now what's funny enough is that with the home run today, Vinny has like a higher single season home run total than Hosmer ever did. His single season high was in 25. Chat's hopping Nerfy Perez. Yuniesky Betancourt. Okay, I'm already on BREF. I need to look up what Royals legend Yuniesky Betancourt batted for his career with the Royals. And also hand up as someone that grew up a Kansas City Royals fan. I thought Yuniesky, or a Seattle Mariners fan, I thought Yuniesky Betancourt was going to be awesome. When I was a young kid. In his career, across a little over 1,000 plate appearances, he slashed 248, 276, 395 for an 80 OPS plus. He was one of those, like, one of your favorite bad players that you ever watched was Yuniesky Betancourt. What a great poll that was. To bring it back after kind of getting derailed there, Vinny's awesome. He's a great player. One of my first things I would do this offseason is give him an extension, buy out a couple of free agent years, and keep him in Kansas City as your first baseman for the next at least 5 years, maybe. Give him a 5-year deal, $55 million, nothing too punitive. But he's shown, like, when he's healthy, when he's going, man, like, he's a really, really good player in the middle of this order. And he can be for a long time and on good playoff teams. Biggest at bat of the game actually didn't come from that, though. It was in the seventh inning. You got the reliever on the mound. Shoot, what was his name? Curvello, who kind of, he was all over the place. Strikes out Vinny, and then Salvi singles. Isbell comes off the bench and pinch hits for Grichuk. And he draws a walk, and that's not something Izzy does a lot of. So to come off the bench and have that plate appearance was really impressive. Jonathan India works a great plate appearance. He walks. So at that point, it's bases loaded with one out. And Lofton, not great. I know he got the home run earlier in the game, but he had a pretty bad plate appearance. And again, it was a guy that had no idea where the ball was going. It was 2-0, and he swung at a cutter in and popped it up. And it's like, man, just make him throw you a strike, get one over the plate. If he didn't swing at that, who knows? Maybe 3-0, maybe lay one in there, and you got a green light. I would have given him the green light in that situation because he was going to throw a strike. Now Luke Maley comes up, backup catcher, got 4 starts, on the homestand, saving Salvi a little bit, kind of embracing more of that true backup catcher role with Fermin now in San Diego. And against Danny Coulomb, who's been one of the better relievers in the league this year from a run prevention perspective. His ERA is 1.89, and he didn't give up a run until like June. And so he's been very, very good. He ends up working a bases loaded walk, and it was an 8 or 9 pitch at bat, where he fought off some cutters. He swung through a couple, but he kept the heart rate low, and the pitch that he walked on, I mean, that's a stone cold take. Fastball in maybe by about that much, but he takes it, ends up giving them the insurance run that they needed really badly. Clark has a great 8th, and then Estevez shuts it down in the 9th for his 33rd save of the year. The bullpen was great today, and they deserve a lot of credit. Lorenzen doesn't get through 5, weird inning. He should have been through 5, if we're being honest. We want to use the same sort of logic tree that we used for Sam Long. It should apply here as well. But Zerpa gives you an inning and 2/3 with a strikeout, and I thought he looked great. I thought he handled the traffic in the 5th and then that clean 6th incredible. He has been really good lately. I know people have very hard and strong opinions about Angel Zerpa, but he's in one of those stretches where he's pitching really well. Not great from Daniel Lynch, but he was in there to face a couple lefties, and then he got a quick hook. Schreiber gets a strikeout and a ground out. He was great. Taylor Clark has been really good since the All-Star break. I think it's 17 strikeouts to 2 walks since the All-Star break with only 1 earned run in that spot, and a clean 9th from Estevez. 2 clean 9ths from Carlos Estevez in this series. So he's kind of getting back on track. He's getting some more swing and miss. Fastball velocity's playing. So they're all heading kind of in the right direction. I mean, this was a massive series, kind of a litmus test heading into an even bigger one this weekend against the Texas Rangers. Geez, I didn't realize this. The Royals had 12 strikeouts to 1 walk today as a staff. I mean, that's a heck of a performance. And they walked 8 times in this game. What a game, man. I mean, that's a gutsy win that they needed to. I mean, a split would not have been the end of the world in all seriousness, but to get 3 of 4 in this series and to finish off that homestand 8-2 is really impressive. And you can even look at those 2 losses like, man, they left some meat on the bone there. And it was the day game against the Nationals, where they had a chance to kind of come back and just couldn't bring him in. And then the game last night where, I mean, it was tied, so who knows? But, say you walk that off, you got a split. It's a little different. And yeah, you're going 6-1 against Texas. I think the Rangers have won like 9 straight season series against Kansas City is what I heard on the broadcast. So this was a pretty significant series there. Now you get the Tigers. who had, I think they had an off day today. Let me confirm that. Yes, they had an off day today, travel day. They were in Houston, and they just pantsed the Astros in that series. 10-0 on Monday, and then 1-0 in 10 innings, walk off. I think it was a walk-off walk. And then Wednesday they win 7-2, and I don't think the Astros scored their first and only runs of the series in the fourth inning of that game. Oh, sorry, they were in Detroit. Sorry, I was looking at it. You would think I would look at the graphic and see that Detroit was on the bottom there. I know that they were home. Either way, they skull dragged Houston in this series, like especially from the pitching side. So your pitching matchups, and this is a significant part of this. Your pitching matchups, you got Ryan Berger versus Casey Mize on Friday, and that game is on Apple TV. So if you have Apple TV, great. If not, be like me and just listen to the game on the radio. That's probably what I'm going to do. Either that, well, I'll keep track of it. I'll be at the Chiefs game, so I will be keeping track of it at some point. Saturday, 6:10 or 5:10 first pitch. It's going to be Michael Walker versus Chris Paddock, who has not had a good year between the Tigers and the Twins. And then 12:40 first pitch on Sunday, Seth Lugo versus Jack Flaherty, who's got a 4.5 ERA. I just want to see them get one out of this series because I've kind of resigned myself to the division is kind of out of reach. It's like 9 games. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about running down a wild card spot. So get one, help yourself keep pace with the White Sox and the Yankees and the Mariners and Cleveland, and win your games, play, be right, and just keep yourself in it. And I think even if losing 2 or 3, I think you'll still put yourself in a decent spot. The Yankees and the Red Sox are playing each other this weekend in a 4-gamer. So there could be a significant swing there that helps Kansas City. Who's Seattle playing while I'm thinking about it? They're at home against the A's. You may not get a lot of help there, but Seattle's been kind of in a funk recently. It could have just been induced by playing some better competition with the Mets and the Phillies. But we'll see. I mean, everything that Kansas City needs to win is right in front of them. I do want to look at the Fangraphs odds for the playoffs. Last I checked, I think it was on Monday, they were like at 20-something%. You win 3 of 4 here. I'm curious how that jumped it. It jumped a little bit higher. It's 26%, so a little over a 1 in 4 shot. They have them projected for 83 and 79, 82 and 80 is the projection right now. But a couple more wins can increase that. And the Guardians now, their division, it's 15.4%, or their chances to make the playoffs. So, we'll see. And yeah, Super Bowl's right, 6 on the road, 9 more at home, and they have an opportunity to stay in this. And 3 of those are against the White Sox. Okay, Kurt, and this is where I actually want to leave my Toast game's a little ironic, but shout out. If you have not watched the video of Lucas Ursig going to the Boonville Correctional Facility to talk about his sobriety and battle with mental health and alcoholism, go watch it. It was a very great watch. Jeff Passan wrote an article about it. The Royals posted a video about it. Lucas is very vulnerable talking about what he went through 5-6 years ago. It's worth the watch. And if you already weren't a Lucas Ursig fan, you will be after this. And I've gotten to speak with him a handful of times in the clubhouse, and obviously the interview that I did before the season with him. He's an awesome dude and is as genuine as they come. And I'm happy for him that he's been able to find peace in his life with this. Back to more lighthearted topics here. Toast game. We'll go to I'm going to give it to the bullpen for the game today. It could have gotten weird late in that game, and they didn't let that happen. So a lot of credit to them. Vinnie Pasquantino for hitting a home run in every game of this series. Four games in a row with homers. It's the first time that's ever happened in his career. So a huge credit to him. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate everybody that watched this, listens, rate, subscribe, review on all platforms. Hit those notification bells. We'll be live Sunday night at 8:30 to recap this series against the Detroit Tigers. And we'll see how it goes. But the boys are playing some ball. They're fired up. They're on a hot stretch. Let's see how long they can keep it going. Talk to you guys Sunday night. Have a great one, everybody. Have a good weekend.